Shalom and welcome to Zion Lexx TV. Be sure to like the video, subscribe, and share the live stream. Become a member of Zion Lexx TV and unlock several hidden features and hidden videos. Also, you can donate to Zion Lexx TV at Cash App $Zion Lexx or via PayPal at zionlex@gmail.com. We also have an online academy entitled Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. Visit us on patreon.com/learntorah. Our Gold Tier membership gives you unlimited access to our special event lectures and our special live movie nights. Our Platinum Tier gives you unlimited access to our Torah class, Kabbalah class, Patriarchs and Matriarchs of the Covenant classes, as well as understanding the New Testament via the Oral Tradition class. Our Diamond Tier gives you unlimited access to all of the previous tiers, as well as our most sought-after class, our Biblical Hebrew course. And finally, our highest tier, our Sapphire Tier, gives you unlimited access to all previous tiers, as well as our highly esteemed rabbinical course. Be sure to sign up today and check your tier membership so as to ensure you're getting access to the classes you desire. Thank you for visiting us here at Zion Lexx TV, and now back to our current live stream.
Did you know that a recent rabbinical court ruling could rewrite the history of millions of African Americans? The connection goes deeper than you might think. The Obadiah Alliance, a respected Sephardic rabbinical court, has officially recognized the Igbo Jews of Nigeria as descendants of the lost tribes of Israel. This groundbreaking declaration bridges a historical gap that scholars have debated for generations. The ruling draws from extensive historical evidence, DNA research, and preserved cultural practices that link the Igbo people to ancient Israel. The implications reach far beyond Nigeria's borders. During the transatlantic slave trade, a significant number of enslaved people were taken from Igbo territories. Many African Americans and Afro-Caribbeans today can trace their ancestry directly to these Igbo regions. This connection aligns with the biblical text of Deuteronomy 28:68, which some scholars interpret as a prophetic reference to the slave trade. The evidence suggests a profound historical narrative. Many African Americans and Afro-Caribbeans may be descendants of the lost tribes of Israel through their Igbo ancestry. This revelation challenges conventional historical perspectives and opens new avenues for understanding identity, heritage, and cultural connections across continents. Could this ruling reshape our understanding of not just African American history, but biblical history as well? Share your thoughts on this remarkable discovery.
Yeah. Purify me, Yah, in the flames. Purify me, see you let it rain. Purify me, Yah, in your name. Purify me, purify me.
Purify my heart, my home, my dome, my soul, bring peace. Purify this dirty water in my cup I drink. I only want the living water from the king. Only want the diamond pressing out of me. Only want the white garment that's clean. Only want the true facts, that's me. 24 carats I rock in my heart, but it sinks to the bottom, you know that it's pure. Coming in sharp like a dark and the aim is on point, so you know that I'm pure. Filter all the evil out of my life, so when I pour it's pure. You know that it's more. I didn't close them doors, so move your finger, boy.
Purify me, Yah, in the flames. Purify me, see you let it rain. Purify me, Yah, in your name. Purify me, purify me.
Trauma after trauma, trouble after trouble. Expected this way of life to be an eternal tussle. Thriller in Manila, told the Most High that I can't endure. Increasing power with each blow. I'm telling them, give me more. It's gonna take more than just one. On that front line when it come. Boy, this spiritual warfare decide to come here, bring more than a gun. I've been purified, so down to ride as long as breath in my lungs. That consuming fire burnt my desires, never going back where I'm from. Go!
Purify me, Yah, in the flames. Purify me, see you let it rain. Purify me, Yah, in your name. Purify me. Man, I step out the fire, my foot on the devil, I'm talking to y'all like a FaceTime. Pit find my spit, y'all say my soul, I've been trying to stay pure on this baseline. Old folks with the old me, they don't know me. Just look at my waistline, fridges drop on the bottom, Hakuna Matata, ain't worried about none of them headlines. Fake news in the media, I'm never meeting you unless we talk about touring. I'm just trying to go spread the bazaar. Saying talking, I try to ignore. I'm looking for lost meanings in the scripture, I'm on an adventure like Dora. Y'all can write a designer, I write a designer, his image got me an immortal.
Cause I'm keeping the faith. If you're not with it, then move on my way. This purification is keeping me sane. I don't get offended cause I'm not the same. If you stuck in the past or you stuck in the maze, keeping it real, a minute behind is a minute too late. If the first shall be last and the last shall be first, but I do it to the end of who win in the race. Sin of perversion, I'ma face, shuffle your boots and tie your lace. Go through the fire, then conversate. Give me a time, dog, finna wait. You back in the hind, dog, on the lake. You read it all wrong, dog, connotate. You falling behind, dog, keep the pace. You heard it all wrong, dog, spin the tape.
Purify me, Yah, in the flames. Purify me, sing your let it rain. Purify me, Yah, in your name. Purify me, purify me. Purify me, Yah, in the flames. Purify me, sing your let it rain. Purify me, Yah, in your name. Purify me, purify me.
Shalom, shalom, everyone. If you can hear me, type a 1 in the chat. If you can hear me, type a 1 in the chat. I want to first and foremost make sure that I could be heard. If you can hear me, type a 1 in the chat. If you can hear me, please type a 1 in the chat. All right. If you can hear me, type a 1 in the chat. All right. Check, check, check. All right. We definitely got a powerful presentation aimed for you guys today. All right. Very, very powerful presentation. We're going to be going into what I'm going to call the Soleb Inscription. The Soleb Inscription is the oldest known historical reference to the name of the creator in history. This is based on today's presentation is based on a demonstration I did on my live stream yesterday, where I wanted to talk about the misuse of the biblical Hebrew term Eye Asher Eye, which in its simplest form is referred to in biblical Hebrew as Eye, and is pronounced according to the rules of Lashon HaQodesh, which is a made-up system of Hebrew. That's pronounced as Ahaya. I wanted to go into that. But what I instead elected to do was to delve deeply into that tonight. Right? So I'll be delving deeply into that tonight at Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. But I'm going to be building today on Zion Lexx TV on the topic of the Soleb Inscription, which is what I talked about in brief yesterday on the live stream. If you caught yesterday's live stream and you enjoyed it, whatever your thoughts are, share it in the chat live. That way I know if there's any questions that you had about the Soleb Inscription. Some people are using it to say that the name of the creator is actually Yahweh. I always found that weird. If I'm brutally honest, I always found that weird because there's a lot of people in our community that sometimes run with things without having a thorough knowledge of the thing they're talking about. So for instance, if the oldest name or the oldest reference to the name of the creator is to be found in the Soleb inscription in Egypt, and that Egyptian transliteration effectively becomes a tape recorder in the ancient world to show us how the name of the creator did in fact originally sound, then the first thing that this means is you have to be able to read the Medu Neter. And here's the reality. The people that make the claim that the term Yahweh can be seen in the Soleb inscription, here's the reality. None of them can read Medu Neter. Which is why I'm trying to figure out how is it that people are making these authoritative claims and can't even read Medu Neter. And this goes towards what I was speaking about just yesterday, the lack of humility in our community, right? I've been teaching Medu Neter in the Israelite community since 2017. That's almost 10 years now. See how fast time flies? I've been teaching Medu Neter or hieroglyphs in the Israelite community for 10 years now. You think any major Israelite teacher came to me and say, hey, I would like to come and learn that from you? But you know, they'll go on a live stream and do a presentation around, you know, what they see online, you know, giving the appearance of scholarship, but not yet having scholarship. Because if they're pressed with the hard questions, which demand that they actually know the language they're referencing, now they're in trouble. You see, I don't have those issues because my thing is, I just want the truth. And I'll do what is morally and ethically sound in order to attain that truth. I hope everybody's hearing me. I'm not selling my soul. I'm doing that which is morally sound and ethical in order to get to what is true. So I say to our community very earnestly that if we're to go to the next level, we got to start humbling ourselves and learning from one another, not just privately, but openly. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I studied under this person. I learned this from that person. Because in doing so, you help the community to grow because everyone can't come to you. That's just not going to happen. But if you make it aware, you make our community aware that, hey, I learned from this person. Now they have an option. They can go to that person or they can go to you. And if that person is more stronger and authoritative in that subject, then naturally they should be going to that person. The problem is people like to monopolize knowledge. People like to monopolize knowledge. You must always come to me. You must go to no one else. And I always say that that's extremely silly. King David says in the Psalms, he says, from all of my teachers, Psalms 119, he says, from all of my teachers, I grew wise. Here's the first thing I learned about that statement that David made. David didn't say, from my teacher, I grew wise. David said, from all of my teachers, I grew wise. What does that mean? He sat under the feet of many. And then it becomes clear that at least David then understands that, you know, in order to really get a grasp of knowledge, you can't just be in one area, right? A jack of all trades is a master of none. You can't go to one teacher that says, hey, I know everything, come to me. A jack of all trades is a master of none. So find people with specialties, right? Find people with specialties and learn under those people under said specialties. You know, one of my specialties from day one in the Israelite community is the language and the esoteric understanding of the Bible, right? So I can take you very deep into the biblical vernacular, the biblical Hebrew vernacular of the Bible, and I can take you very deep into the esotericism, all right, of the Bible, right? The secrets of the Bible, the hidden truths of the Bible. And just in case anybody is wondering, what am I talking about? King David prays, Gal anai, we avita, niflaot mitoratecha. Open down my eyes that I may behold the secrets of your law. What secrets is David praying for if the Torah has none? So obviously the book is more than a surface understanding and meaning that we all can see. There's something beyond those layers that a true scholar of Torah is able to glean from, right? So I say that today's presentation is going to make a distinction on a number of levels. It's going to clarify what the Soleb inscription entails. I went back into my Amenhotep bag. I've read and studied Egyptian history for over 10 years now. And during that same time, essentially, I'm also studying their language, just under 10 years, about 9 years now. And what I effectively learned is that in order to really understand the Kemetic history and maybe even legacy, you have to delve deeply into their language. So the language is key, as with anything. Any text that you're reading, especially if it's an ancient text, if you want the best understanding of that text, read it in the language it was originally written and spoken in. All right. So without further ado, because we do have a very powerful Torah class this evening, without any further ado, we're going to get into the presentation. I'm not going to invite anybody to the screen. I may take some time out at the very end of the presentation, but I'm not going to invite anybody immediately right now. I want to say shalom to all of our moderators that will be joining in. I want to say shalom to Solo Visions. And he says, let me just pin your comment. Solo Vision says earlier, shout out to you, Moray, for the consistent due diligence for the community. Well, to that I say, Baruch Hashem. Blessed be his name. Blessed be the name of the Most High, the Holy One of Israel, for giving us the strength to endure. And of course, big shout out to Naphtali New School of Thought, Akoti Naphtali, or what I would call Morah Naphtali. Morah being the Hebrew feminine for teacher. A teacher in Hebrew is a moreh. The feminine way is morah, and she is surely a teacher. And I think it's long overdue that her and I have had a live stream. So I just want to say this publicly to you, good sister. If you reach out to me behind the scenes, we could figure out a topic and let's go live on something. I think we both share a common ideology when it comes to the physical appearance of Noah. That might shake the community up. I would love to have that conversation with you live. Let me know. You can reach out to me. With that being said, I'm going straight for it. We are going into the Soleb Inscription. So today's presentation is entitled The Soleb Inscription, the oldest known historical reference to the name Yahweh in history. And here we go. Many of you at this time are aware that I'm an author, but there's always someone that doesn't know. You can find my books on Amazon. You can find my books on Barnes and Nobles. You can type in Zion Lexx, or you can type in my actual Hebrew name, which is Avdiel Ben Levi, Avdiel Benlevi, Avdiel Ben Levi. Ben is son. I don't think I need to tell you who Levi is. I hope you know. And Avdiel means servant of God, son of Levi. Here we go. And do be aware to tune in tonight at exactly 8:30 p.m. sharp. We are going to go deep sea diving into what exactly or essentially is problematic about both Ahaya and Yahweh from the perspective of the historical record and biblical Hebrew grammar. We'll be looking at historical evidence, Hebrew grammar, truth revealed. You can catch us on patreon.com. That's only on patreon.com/learn Torah, right? Make sure you join our online academy. We have some incredible presentations that we hold and host throughout the week. We go Mondays is Biblical Hebrew, Tuesdays is our Torah class, Wednesday is our class in rabbinical training, Thursday is our Kabbalah class. We may be adding some more classes. We will be adding our Aramaic class. We will be adding our Medu-Neter or hieroglyphic class. Coming into the summer, we will be doing our Patriarchs of the Covenant as well as our Matriarchs of the Covenant courses. So we have a lot of courses that are going to be kicking off. And I think one of the most prized courses that is going to be reintroduced this summer is understanding the New Testament through the lens of examining the oral tradition. That's understanding the New Testament through the lens of understanding the oral tradition. And let me be the first one to tell you, that's a powerful class. Right. Now, what's interesting about the name of the Creator, I'm going to begin here. What's interesting about the name of the Creator is everyone has their understanding of how the name of the Creator is to be understood, right? I think the Bible tells it better than any one of us, but apparently, seemingly, everybody has their own understanding of what essentially that is. So allow me to share my screen. And we're going to go to Exodus 3:14 really quick. All right, I want to clear something up from the very beginning because this needs to be said, apparently. So let me clear this up. So we are in the book of Exodus, chapter 3, verse 15, and it reads on this wise, hallelujah. Vayomer Elohim el Moshe, Eye, Asher, Eye, Vayomer kol tomar livnei Yisrael, Eye, Shelachni, Alechem, which effectively says, and God said to Moshe, Eye, Asher, Eye, I will ever be what I now am. And he said, thus shall you say to the children of Yisrael, Eye, I am, has sent me to you. Now, why is that important that I emphasize this? People are making the argument that the Tetragrammaton, YHWH, is not the name of the Creator. And they look at, I essentially want to say, the rest of us, like, how come you didn't get the memo? It says it right there, clear as day. We're reading it right now. God said to Moses, Eye, Asher, Eye, and he said, thus shall you say to the children of Israel, Eye has sent me to you. I think words are important. I want to go back to the 12th. I want to go back to all right. I want to go back to verse 13 now. Verse 13 reads in Ivrit, Vayomer Moshe el Elohim, Hine anoki va el bnei Yisrael ve amarti lahem Elohe avotekem shelachni alechem amaru li ma shemo ma omar alehem. And Moshe said to God, behold, when I come to the children of Yisrael and shall say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they shall say to me, what is his name? What shall I say unto them? Ma omar alehem. What shall I say to them? So here's a question. Right? Here's a question. People are assuming, based on this verse, that Moses is saying the children of Israel don't know God's name. And that's not true. People are also assuming, based on this verse, that Moses and the patriarchs didn't know God's name. And of course, that's not true. Because the name of the Creator is mentioned all throughout the book of Genesis, utilized by the patriarchs. You can see it when they're praying. They're actually using the name of the Creator. Moses is dialoguing with the Creator through his name. So we know that they knew his name. And the name that I'm referring to when I say they knew his name is in fact the Tetragrammaton. So then what are we essentially to make out of Moses and his inquisition? Why does he say to the Creator, and they shall say to me, what is his name? What shall I say to them? And here's the thing I want everybody to focus on. The patriarchs and matriarchs are all using the name of the Creator. There are several passages in the book of Genesis where you can literally see the Tetragrammaton being invoked and used by the matriarchs and the patriarchs of old. In Moses asking, what shall I say is his name? He's asking something that a novice in the Bible would completely miss. Every name of the Creator is revelatory of one of many of his attributes. Every name of the Creator, every title of the Creator used and employed in the Bible is revelatory of one of his many attributes. Now, in asking what is his name, Moses is essentially asking, how are you revealing yourself? Are you coming as the God of judgment? Are you coming as the God of war? Are you coming as the God of love? Because all of those attributes are associated with very specific names. In the Bible, we read of Elohim Zevaot, the God of hosts. In the Bible, we read of Yodhe Vavhe Zevaot, the Lord of hosts. We read about Elohim, Adonai, El Shaddai, El Rakum. I could go on. Each of those names are all revelatory of one of many of his attributes. So Moses is not asking, what is his name, as if no one knows the name. Moses is asking, which one of your attributes, which one of your names, in what way are you revealing yourself? That right there is extremely important. I want to go on now to the following verse. And look at God's response to Moses. And God said to Moshe, Eye Asher Eye. I'm going to bypass for a moment Safaria's translation. Safaria's translation is, I will ever be what I now am. Well, I disagree with Safaria on that, and I teach biblical Hebrew. Eye means I will be. The root of Eye is Haya, which is the past tense, the verb to be, to exist. Whenever you take the letter Aleph and you add it to a root, it becomes the first person future tense, I will. So Haya means to be, to exist. Eye means I will be. So that first way to understand Eye is I will be. Asher means that, which, who. So I will be that or what. Eye, I will be. I will be what I will be. This is the response that the Creator gives to Moshe. He says, I will be what I will be. All right. He says, I will be what I will be. And that's important because he's essentially telling Moses, I will reveal myself in any way I so choose to. That's what he's telling Moses by saying, I will be what I will be. But look at what he goes on to say. Vayomer od Elohim el Moshe. And God said further to Moshe, Kol tomar El Bnei Yisrael. Thus shall you say to the children of Israel, Yod He Wav He. Does everybody see that as clear as day? I don't know how people are making the argument that if you look at Exodus 3:14, the argument is done. God told you that his name is Eye, or as the Lashon HaQodesh weirdos are saying, Ahaya. I don't know how people are making that argument. When the very next verse says, and God said further to Moshe, thus shall you say to the children of Israel, Yod He Wah He. Isn't that the Tetragrammaton? Yod He Wav He, Elohe Avotekum, the God of your fathers. Elohe Abraham, the God of Abraham. Elohe Yitzchak, the God of Isaac. We Elohe Yaakov, and the God of Jacob. Shalachni Aleikum, has sent me to you. Ze Shemi, this is my name. Whoa! Le Olam, we Ze Zikri Le Dor Dor. Uh-oh. The argument is done. He told you what his name is right here. He said, thus shall you say further to the children of Israel, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has sent me to you. This is my name forever. And there's no Eye in this verse whatsoever. All you have is the Tetragrammaton. But the Tetragrammaton is actually born out of the root Eye. The Tetragrammaton is the third person of that verbal root form, Eye. The Tetragrammaton is the third person of that verbal root form, Eye. But if you never studied biblical Hebrew under someone that actually knows Hebrew, and all you do is look at Strong's, well, no wonder you're out here saying foolishness. I just wanted to clarify that really quick. After having done that, let's forward and get right into the presentation. And just for clarity, guys, I'm just warming up. It's going to get hot in a couple of minutes. The Soleb Inscription, the oldest known historical reference to the name Yahweh in history. The Soleb Inscription is a fascinating artifact from ancient Egyptian history, offering what is believed to be the oldest known historical reference to the name Yahweh, dating back to the 14th century BCE. That's the 1300s, everybody. During the reign of Nisut, or Pharaoh Amenhotep III, the inscription is etched on a sandstone column in the temple complex of Soleb in Nubia, southern Egypt. It lists various foreign territories and peoples encountered by the Egyptians by this time, including a group referred to as the Shasu, the nomads of Yahweh, which many scholars interpret as an early mention of Yahweh, the deity later central to Judaism. All right. Now notice this. Notice the translation of the Soleb inscription reads Shasu of YHWH. But there are 4 Medu-Neter symbols on that inscription. So why is the transliteration only representative of 3? That's going to be key in a couple of moments. This reference is pivotal, not only because it potentially marks the earliest recorded mention of Yahweh, but also because it provides insight into the interactions and cultural exchanges between ancient Egypt and the nomadic peoples of the Levant, the ancient land of Israel. The Soleb inscription thus stands as a crucial piece of the historical puzzle, shedding light on the early presence and worship of Yahweh in the ancient Near east. Do remind everybody, make sure you like, share, subscribe, everyone. Thumb up the video and share the live stream. And do not be afraid to donate to the platform. We consistently bring great information on our platform. It would mean a lot here at Zion Lexx TV if we can get the support of our community in supporting this platform on all levels in front. It takes a lot of work to do what we do here. It may seem easy, but even that takes work. And taking something that is painstakingly tough to go through in terms of scholarship, but presenting it in a way that looks like this was no sweat, even that takes skill, or even what some may call mastery. So do not forget, everyone, to also donate to the platform. You can donate through Cash App, you can donate through Zelle, you can donate through PayPal, you can also donate through Venmo. Let's continue with the presentation. So the Soleb inscription and the earliest witness to the Tetragrammaton, YHWH. The discussion surrounding the divine name, YHWH, the Tetragrammaton, is not merely theological. It is deeply historical, linguistic, and philological. Among the most critical extra-biblical attestations of the name is the Soleb inscription, dating to the reign of Amenhotep III, 14th century BCE, or the 1300s. This inscription, discovered in Nubia, southern Egypt, contains what many scholars recognize to be the earliest historical reference of the Tetragrammaton outside the biblical text. The inscription references a group called the Shasu, nomadic peoples associated with the southern Levant. Within this context appears a toponym, a place name, transliterated as Ta Shasu Yahweh, the land of the Shasu of Yahweh. Again, notice the transliteration is just 3 letters, YHW. Now, it begs a question, and the question it begs is, why is that? Okay, why is that? You're going to see in a couple of moments. Even though the Medu Neter symbols on the Soleb inscription are 4, the Hebrew transliteration only accounts for 3. You're going to see why. I needed to do a deep dive in my Medu Neter studies last night. In going back and just rereading the inscription and fact-checking what I've learned over the years, I saw something last night that I should have pointed out on my live stream, but I was able to catch it last night, so I decided to do an entirely new live stream today. And what I showed, what I revealed last night, what I seen last night, and what I'm about to reveal today is shocking, profound, and quite frankly, game-changing in terms of understanding how this inscription is to be read. This YHWH is widely understood to correspond to the early form of YHWH, or the triconsonantal root. What follows is a careful dismantling of the claim that the divine name should be rendered Yahweh. I'll read that part again. What follows is a careful dismantling of the claim that the divine name should be rendered Yahweh, and a demonstration based on Egyptology, Lashon HaQodesh, and textual transmission that Yahweh is the most linguistically and historically supported vocalization in history. Here we go. Now, decoding the Soleb inscription. What does it actually say? The Egyptian writing system does not record vowels in the same way that Hebrew does. Instead, it uses consonantal approximations. The sequence Yod, He, or YHW is written using the reed leaf, the double reed leaf, which gives you Y, the twisted flax, or the aerial view of the house, which is H, and the quail chick, which is W as a consonant or U as a vowel. This yields Yahweh, not Yahweh, not Yahweh, and certainly not Yah-O. Must be emphasized. Egyptian lacks Aleph representation here, so the insertion of a glottal stop in Yahweh is artificial. The term Ya'o is inclusive of what we call in language a glottal stop. That's obsolete here because you do not see that in the Egyptian inscription. The final W, Wa, represents a consonant, not a vowel. All right, that final W is not a vowel, it's a consonant. Egyptian transcriptions of Semitic names consistently preserve consonantal frameworks, aligning closely with early Northwest Semitic phonology. Thus, the Soleb inscription preserves a tri-consonantal core of the divine name, YHW, which corresponds to the shorter form Y or YHWH, found throughout the Tanakh in names like Yohanatan and Yehoshua. All right, here we go. Now, in yesterday's live stream, I talked about the lasso hieroglyph, but I failed to mention an extremely critical point about it that I'm going to make right now. This is the Soleb inscription here. On the top, let me see if I can blow that up. And I can. Good. On the top, again, as I pointed out yesterday, that's the symbol for land, and that's Ta. Right? That's the symbol for land. That's Ta. So that says land. Then you have the marsh, which yields SH. By the way, anyone talking about the Soleb transcription and they can't even read the Medu Neter for themselves, I'm not sure how seriously you're even taking their opinion. I say that because, again, in our community, you often have people that will listen to the thoughts of others, and rather than learn under them, they'll watch hours of their videos, and then they'll go and do a video, present information that essentially the person they're watching just presented, but this time presenting the information as if it's all them. But again, if pressed with the hard questions, what does this mean in Medu Neter? What does that mean? And you realize they don't know. And you ask them, okay, what does this mean in Medu Neter? And what does that mean in Medu Neter? And you realize they don't know. And then you just straight up ask them, do you read Medu Neter? And they say no. At that point, you realize you've been hoodwinked and bamboozled. There are too many people online that have the appearance of scholarship without actually having the merit and training of scholarship. Is it that hard to learn? You don't got to go to a hotep to learn Medu Neter. There's an Israelite that teaches it in the Israelite community for now almost 10 years. Yours truly. I know, but you don't like me. So rather than come learn it from me, you just watch 40 watch hours of mine, do a presentation on it, and act like you can read the Medu Neter now, when clearly you can't. So what I would like to say to a lot of people that are doing this, adopt some humility. And I even want to say, have some self-respect for yourself, God damn it. Because that's a shame and a travesty in our community that rather than learn from others, people will go and watch what you say and do, then present it like it's their own. What is that? That's a person having the appearance of scholarship without having the merit and training of actual scholarship. So the marsh glyph gives you SH. So far you have Ta and you have SH. Then you have the Su plant. The Su plant gives you SU. So far you have Ta, Shasu. Then you have the quail chick. All right, you have the quail chick. The quail chick can function as a W, or the quail chick can function as a U. Typically, the quail chick will function as a W when it is the initial letter in a word. Anywhere else in a word, it typically is the vowel U. So it's not the first letter or glyph in this word, so it's the vowel U. So altogether, this says Ta, land, Shasu, land of the Shasu, land of the nomads, land of the Hebrews. What type of Hebrews are there? are these people? The Egyptians let us know. The next glyph that we encounter is the double reed leaf. The double reed leaf is a Y. If it was one reed leaf, it could be an I, an E, or an A. But when you have two of them back to back, it's the Y. So the double reed leaf gives you a Y. The aerial view of the house is an H. So together you have YH. Then you have the quail chick. Notice I'm not going to the lasso because the lasso is last. In the order that this is being read, and I'm giving you guys a quick lesson in Medu Neter, when you're reading a hieroglyphic inscription and it's written in columns, right, vertically, like what we're doing right now, you always start at the top. So in starting at the top, you have the land glyph Ta, you have the marsh SH. But now you have a conundrum, right? Which one you're going to read first? You're going to read the Sioux plant or the quail chick? Well, if you don't know Medu Neter, you wouldn't know which one to read first. If you do know Medu Neter, you'll realize that because the quail chick is facing left here, and the quail chick below is also facing left, and even the Sioux plant is also facing left, then you know to start reading from the left. So notice the order I'm reading. Ta, Sha, Su. Now the next glyph we'll read is the double reed leaf. Why? Because we're starting at the left. So Y, H, and now the next column, which we read first? The quail chick, not the lasso. The lasso is last. So you have Y, H, the quail chick here is W. So YHW. And I said yesterday that one of the things that makes reading this hieroglyphic inscription problematic is that the lasso glyph can be a W or an O. Its primary use as a consonant is going to be a W, and it can often be used as an O, especially during the Greco-Roman period when used to transliterate Greek and Roman names. However, there's something I missed in yesterday's live stream that I caught when I went back and just read some of my books. Let me just give you guys a close-up really quick. I like to share sources. Right. So when I went back and read from one of my books, I caught something last night that I clearly missed. Apart from the lasso having the meaning of a consonant W or a vowel O, the lasso can also be used as a determinative, which is a language classifier. Let me explain what a determinative is real quick. So in language, if we're writing 1.92, what did I just write? One person might say, I don't know, like longitude, latitude, like you're giving directions. No. Well, you're not telling time because it's not the 92nd minute. Okay. Is it money? Yes, it's money. But what would have made it easier for you all to know that when I wrote 1.92 that I was talking about money? If I wrote the $sign in front of the 1. The $sign in language is called a determinative. So in the word ta shasu, you have the lasso here is acting as a determinative. It's not acting as a consonant W, nor is it acting as a vowel O. And allow me to show you that very, very clearly now. If you notice in looking at the full inscription, everybody see for yourself that the man's hands are bound. Can everybody see that? Can everybody see in the actual inscription that the man's hands are bound? They're tied. If you all can see that, type the 100 emoji in the chat room, type the fire emoji in the chat room. If everybody with 2 eyes can see that the captive man on the Soleb inscription, you can clearly see that ropes are tied around his arm, binding him, showing him as a captured servant. If everybody can see that, throw some fire emojis in the chat room, throw some 100 emojis in the chat room. I want to make sure that everybody can actually see that. All right. Excellent. Clearly, right? Clearly. So watch this. This is what I missed yesterday. So in going back to reread this, I saw something last night that escaped me. Even I made an error in interpreting. I wanted to translate the lasso as a W, but the lasso is neither a consonant nor a vowel here. It's acting as a determinative for binding or capturing. So this is saying ta, shasu, YHW. Add the vowels. Yahweh. And the lasso is now acting as a determinative for binding or capturing. Now watch the receipt. The lasso hieroglyph in Gardner sign V4, often described as a coil of rope, is primarily used as a determinative or logogram for words relating to binding, tying, lassoing, or capturing. I missed that yesterday. That was a bomb, but I caught it last night. It commonly represents the concept of a lasso itself, acts as a component in verbs of binding, or can represent an O sound in some contexts, such as foreign names. Key uses include binding, tying, often accompanies words for binding, capturing, or securing. Foreign names, as shown on a column, it can be used to write O or U sound in foreign non-Egyptian names. Symbolism, it functions as a clear visual representation of a rope used for capturing. That is clearly the identification of the lasso here, because the person depicted on this actual inscription is a bound and captive, enslaved individual. So that means, again, you have to actually know Medu Neter in order to catch something like that. Had not I known Medu Neter at all, I'll just believe everything I see online. But because I know Medu Neter and I realized that there was something problematic about the spelling as I transliterated it, which is YHWH, that doesn't make sense. YHWH is not a transliteration of the Tetragrammaton at all. So I knew something was up. So I went back last night, opened up my books, opened up the lasso determinative, and saw, lo and behold, forgetting the lasso also serves, apart from a consonant W or a vowel O, it also serves as a determinative for binding or capturing. And that's clearly how this person is being depicted. And by the way, just to show you the word order, determinatives are always used at the end of words in the Medu Neter. And the placement of the lasso in the Soleb inscription is at the end of the word. Join Learn Torah Hebrew Academy at patreon.com/Learn Torah. Let's go. After demonstrating that Yahweh is not the representation of the Tetragrammaton on the Soleb inscription, I want to still go on to explain why the term Yahweh fails linguistically and historically. The claim that the divine name should be pronounced Yahweh collapses under scrutiny from multiple disciplines. Violation of Hebrew root structure. Hebrew roots function within triliteral or quadriliteral root systems, developing from 3 or 4 roots primarily, right? We have some roots that are binary 2. We even have some roots that are rare that are 5. The name YHWH, the Tetragrammaton, is a 4-letter root, likely connected to the verb haya, the past tense for exist, to be. Rendering it Yahweh removes structural integrity and ignores the internal grammar of the holy tongue, Lashon HaQodesh. The second reason is its absence in the Masoretic tradition. The Masoretic text preserves the consonants Yod-He, Wav-He over 6,800 times, while vowel pointing reflects reverential substitutions. For example, Adonai, the consonantal structure is never reduced to 3 letters, nor is it ever vocalized as Yah-O. Similarly, no support from the Septuagint, the oldest translation of the Hebrew Bible. The Septuagint does not preserve Yah-O as a pronunciation of the divine name. Instead, it frequently substitutes Kyrios. In earlier fragments, the Tetragrammaton appears in Hebrew script, not transliterated Greek. There is no manuscript evidence where the Tetragrammaton is ever rendered as Yah-O. The Samaritan Torah even preserves the same consonants. The Samaritan Torah retains Yod, He, Wav, He in its consonantal form. Samaritan pronunciation traditions lean toward Yahweh or similar, not Yah-O. Even the Samaritans are leaning towards Yahweh. No one's saying Yah-O. Well, no one except for Israelites that read Lashon HaQodesh and never actually learned Hebrew or Middle Netra. Let me just add that. Now, the argument was made live yesterday that the Dead Sea Scrolls support the Yah-O. And I actually took a look at that, and I came to a conclusion immediately. The Dead Sea Scrolls do not support Yah-O. The Dead Sea Scrolls consistently preserve the divine name either in Paleo-Hebrew script or as 4 distinct consonants, Yod-He, Wav-He. There is no authoritative Dead Sea Scroll manuscript that renders the name as Yah-O. Now, something was brought to my attention yesterday that I had never heard, which is always a powerful moment for me because I get to do the thing I like to do the most. I get to study. And boy, oh boy, look at what I found when I went studying this Trigrammaton idea. The so-called Trigrammaton myth, a common argument from pseudo-scholarly circles, is that a Greek rendering of the divine name exists as I-A-O, which they equate with Yah-O. This argument is misleading for several reasons. I-A-O appears in later magical papyri, not authoritative biblical Hebrew manuscripts. I like when people bring things to my attention that's new, especially when it disagrees with something I'm saying, because then I get to study it. And if I was wrong about something I was doing, then I could change. And that's amazing. And if I was not wrong, then yeah, I get to roast that idea live. I-A-O appears in later magical papyri, not authoritative biblical manuscripts. It reflects Hellenistic approximations, not original Hebrew pronunciation. Greek lacks the consonant H, forcing distortions in transliteration. Thus, I-A-O is not a Dead Sea Scroll translation of Yod-He, Wav-He, but a secondary external approximation detached from the textual integrity of Torah transmission. I-A-O is a divine name, listen to this, frequently used in Gnosticism, which is Hellenistic magic. You know, when people present things to me like this, and then I go study it, and within minutes, I'm able to debunk it, it just begs the question for me. How far did you go in your study before saying to yourself that this actually makes sense? Because from what I'm seeing and from what I learned, I'm not sure how you got past 15 minutes in thinking that this made sense. But it gets worse. IAO is a divine name frequently used in Gnosticism, Hellenistic magic, and early Christianity. So no wonder you find it in extra Dead Sea Scroll content from the Hellenistic period, because clearly there are people supplanting Greek esotericism known as Gnosticism, Hellenistic magic, and trying to mix and blend it with that of Torah. IAO, in case those who are proponents of it didn't know, is the whole name of an actual Greek god. So y'all telling us the name of a Greek god is equivalent to the name of the creator? Y'all gotta be kidding me. In Sethian Gnosticism, IAO, listen to this, is a malevolent archon, the son of Yaldabaoth, ruling Jupiter, while in magical papyri, it is a high-ranking power invoked for protection. In other words, everybody, it's of Greek origin, associated with Hellenistic magical rites and Gnosticism. But y'all read 3 PDFs and want to convince an entire community that we should change thousands of years of scholarship that our ancestors labored for this Yahweh thing. Yeah, it's at that point that I got to say I'm heading out. You know, there's a lot of people that have the appearance of scholarship, but not the merit and training of scholarship. IAO is the Greek bisyllabic enunciation of YHWH, the abbreviated form of the Tetragrammaton. It is the most attested word of power in ancient magical papyri, often employed as the name or a standing epithet of the supreme god. Non-Jewish Greek sources also use this term for the Hebrew God. This is from the name Yahweh is from the pagan god IAO. A quick search wasn't hard at all. Showed you exactly where this came from. So there are other works, and scholars are aware of this. There are other works that made its way into the vicinity of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Just like the people who uncovered the Dead Sea Scrolls, they were not a part of the community, of the Dead Sea community. So that means people were able to get there. And sometimes people getting there, they supplant things there, they put things there. But clearly, none of the adherents of that community believed in that because it's not consistent with the literature that they placed inside the Dead Sea Scroll finds. So more than telling me, oh, it was found among the Dead Sea Scrolls. You know how many things that were found among the Dead Sea Scrolls that scholars discredit? I hope everyone doesn't think that when you go inside an abandoned building and you find treasure in a corner, that because there was treasure in one corner, we should accept the garbage that's in the rest. I hope everybody knows that if you actually read a book about the Dead Sea Scrolls, you would actually find out that there were a lot more things found in the Qumran caves that are not considered holy. So just because something was found among the Dead Sea Scroll archives does not in fact render it holy. You see, the problem with the Israelite community is rather than listen to what our ancestors had to say, we're so brilliant and genius that we want to operate on the knowledge we just woke up with yesterday and change the whole game. Well, no wonder we're continuing to set our community back hundreds of years, maybe even 1,000. And then to add insult to injury, why are we using things like the Soleb inscription, knowing you can't read Medu Neter? So I say with all due respect, having the appearance, having the color of scholarship is not equivalent to having the merit, rank, and training of scholarship. Here we go. And this is light. I'm being nice. I could go in, but I elect not to. I elect not to. How the Soleb inscription supports Yahweh. Now, this part is going to be interesting. The strongest argument for a pronunciation like Yahweh emerges when we synthesize Egyptian consonantal rendering YHW. So what we saw in looking at the Soleb inscription, and I'll blow it up once more, we saw that the double reed leaf is the Y, the aerial view of the house is an H, and the quail chick is a W. And the lasso is a determinative for a captive person, of which the person on the inscription is actually bound and captive, clear as day. So then that means the Soleb inscription records the name of the creator as YHWH. The lasso is a determinative for captive, and it's descriptive of the entire image. This is a captive slave. So this is the Ta land of the Shasu of YHWH. YHWH. Oh, you mean Yahweh. Egyptian consonantal rendering YHW. Hebrew verbal root Haya, to be. Theophoric names Yehoshua show the triconsonantal root Yod, He, Wav. Many of the names in the Bible actually capture the oldest form of the tetragrammaton, which is actually triconsonantal, just consisting of YHW. Almost every single theophoric name in the Bible contains YHW. There are some that just contain the Yod. There are some that contain L, but many of them contain YHW. They're capturing the earliest form of the name of the creator, which is triconsonantal. Okay? So theophoric names like Yehoshua, Yirmiyahu, Eliyahu all capture the name as YHW, which is the exact same way it's rendered on the Soleb inscription by the ancient Egyptians. You know, I say and learn Torah Hebrew Academy, and I say this with all due humility, the work is easy when you're well studied. The transition looks like this: YHWH, Yahu, Yahu, Yahweh. The final He in Yod-He, Wav-He likely functioned as a mater lectionis, indicating a vowel ending, supporting a pronunciation closer to Yahweh, not Yahoo. At this point, it's just overkill, but I'll keep going. Hieroglyphic witness and the preservation of the name. What the Soleb inscription offers is not a full vocalization, but something arguably more important, a fixed historical anchor. It confirms that the name Yod-He Wav-He, in shortened form Yod-He Wav, was known outside of Israel as early as the 14th century BCE. It was associated with a specific people group, the Shasu/Israelites in the southern Levant. Its consonantal structure aligns perfectly with the biblical tradition. This is not myth, nor later invention. It is archaeological testimony. Conclusion: restoring integrity to the divine name. The attempt to impose Yahweh onto the divine name is not rooted in serious philology, Egyptology, or even textual criticism. It is a reconstruction. Yahweh is a reconstruction built on misunderstanding Greek approximations and ignoring the overwhelming weight of evidence. The Soleb inscription stands as a powerful witness that the divine name was known in a form consistent with Yod, He, Wav, which when read through the lens of Lashon HaQodesh or Kadosh strongly supports the pronunciation Yahweh. Recovering the name is not merely about sound. It is about alignment with emet, truth, mesorah, tradition, and lashon, tongue or language. And with that, I say, join Learn Torah Hebrew Academy tonight for a lecture that will be viewed and seen only on Patreon at patreon.com/Learn Torah. Tonight's lecture is entitled, What is Problematic About Both Ahaya and Yahweh, from the perspective of the historical record and biblical Hebrew grammar. We'll be looking at historical evidence and Hebrew grammar in order to reveal the truth. That's tonight at 8:30 p.m. only on patreon.com/Learn Torah. If anybody's familiar with my work, you should know I always save the best for last. And that best that I'm saving for last will only be seen at Learn Torah Hebrew Academy tonight at patreon.com/Learn Torah. If you value the contribution of Zion Lexx TV, please do like, share, and subscribe. If you truly honor the work that we do, don't be afraid to donate to the platform. I am your brother Zion Lexx, also known as Avdiel Ben Levi, Nasi Avdiel Ben Levi, and I am signing off. I hope that you guys enjoy the information and the presentation, and I hope that you glean much from many. Take care.
Shalom and welcome to Zion Lexx TV. Be sure to like the video, subscribe, and share the live stream. Become a member of Zion Lexx TV and unlock several hidden features and hidden videos. Also, you can donate to Zion Lexx TV at Cash App $Zion Lexx or via PayPal at zionlex@gmail.com. We also have an online academy entitled Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. Visit us on patreon.com/Learn Torah. Our gold tier membership gives you unlimited access to our special event lectures and our special live movie nights. Our platinum tier gives you unlimited access to our Torah class, Kabbalah class, Patriarchs and Matriarchs of the Covenant classes, as well as understanding the New Testament via the Oral Tradition class. Our diamond tier gives you unlimited access to all of the previous tiers, as well as our most sought-after class, our Biblical Hebrew course. And finally, our highest tier, our Sapphire tier, gives you unlimited access to all previous tiers, as well as our highly esteemed rabbinical course. Be sure to sign up today and check your tier membership so as to ensure you're getting access to the classes you desire. Thank you for visiting us here at Zion Lexx TV, and now back to our current live stream.
Send you the first, send you the first, we going out, out. Send you the first, send you the first, we going out, out.
Preset, if you scared, then go home. And no, we ain't saying it twice. Cause once you get into this war zone, it's either your life or their life. And we ain't about losing before an intrusion. We gotta make sure we right. So we send praise and seek his face. Then we load up at his on site. What you thought it was, it's not. Don't wanna see us on your block. Yelling hallelujah, trying to tell y'all that victory is sure shot. We serve Yahweh by oath, and in this army of hosts, yeah, Yahoo the lead. True indeed, in his name we boast. Don't
send you the first, send you the first, we going out, out. Send you the first, send you the first, we going out. Torch fire, flags in the street. Sing louder, kick up the beat. All them enemy feet get delete when we pray in the street. Drew to drop them knee. Who got the praise for days? Who are the what came face? Made for praise, spit prophecy. We be that anointed royalty. I said we came. Hey. The bar Hamayim number 2, that's on replay. Yeah, we gon' bust them walls, mash up and be on our way. Yeah, to the nations we proclaim his Kodesh name. Yahuwah, Yahuwah, Yah, Yah. Send you the first. Send you the first, we going out, out. Send you the first.
You said.
Send you the first, we going out, out.
From Simeon have been jamming. We need every man out here standing. Got sisters home and they praying while they brothers in the field slaying.
Slaying demons in sorrow. Hamashiach, we do follow. Sword the truth, we loud no mute. We lenders out here, we know no borrow.
Jacob's seed is undefeated when y'all's greeted with praise and leads us through a war without a grievance till the win is completed. Then we return with our pieces.
Peace banger, peace be still with the Rangers. Mighty Morphin, we hang them up to drop deck and hang on, hang on.
Let's go.
Send you the first. We going. Send you the first. Send you the first. We going. Send you the first. Send you the first. We going out. Out.
Tearing down idols and we cutting down poles. We calling back Israel to the hell we know. Throwing out crystals, we don't need these stones. And we ain't no gods, that's a job for y'all. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High, Yahuwah. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Yah Israel. Tearing down idols, we cutting down poles. We calling back Israel to the hell we know. We throwing out crystals, yeah. We don't need these stones. We ain't no gods, that's a job for Yah. Cutting down poles, we're calling back Israel to the hell we know. We throwing out crystals, we don't need these stones, and we ain't no gods. That's a job for y'all. Everybody help me say all praise.